All right, guys, welcome to the first episode of Nighters Forge. So what I'm going to be doing is each week, usually on a Thursday or Friday, depending on when I have time to do it, I'm going to be doing a short video going through some of the top upvoted ideas in our Discord forum section. So basically these are going to be unedited, just me going through them, sharing my thoughts, ideas that we like, ideas that we don't like, and why, so that you guys get a reasoning and kind of a little bit of behind the scenes on how we approach things. This is something that we talk a lot about, and every single game developer or even every single professional in a job understands that oftentimes from the outside things either look easier or just like, oh, just simply do this. And then you realize there's actually a lot more to it. You see it in all professions. And when you do it as a profession, you see, oh, it's not this simple. And many times that's how we have to respond. But obviously that's not satisfying, right? As a player or a community member, you're like, oh, well, why? Or like, why don't you think this would work? And it can be hard to obviously have the time to be able to share that with every single player we have, or impossible to do that. However, doing these weekly, go through kind of the top ideas, and then you guys get a better understanding on maybe if we don't like something, why, or what we see the issue is with it. And more so me on this side, because I'll be the one doing these. But yeah, it gives you a little bit behind the scenes, but then also it gives us a chance to bring the top community ideas to light, which we really like to do. There's been so many community ideas that we've taken from you guys that you have shared in chat channels or in these forum topics. You guys will see a lot in 1.1 that were actually like some of the top upvoted forum ideas that were really strong ideas. And we kind of did our own take on them in terms of what fit the best. But yeah, so I wanted to go through these each week. What I'll be doing is I'll be grabbing 1 to 3 of them, depending on how big they are or how much is in there. And it won't always be like the number one upvoted one. I'll usually grab like 1 to 3 from kind of the top 5. It depends on if I think it's good for a video like this. And yeah, so let's get into it. Actually, a couple quick things of kind of like housekeeping on this. The first one is when you guys do one of these like forum topics in the Discord, there's like an upvoting thing. So if you don't have an idea, but there's one that you want to see brought to light, go ahead and give it an upvote, and that will give it a higher chance to be reviewed or considered. But also, if you are making a card, please don't put like 20 ideas in it or 20 topics in it. This just makes it something that I won't have time to go over in a video, and it'd be much stronger if they were in different forum posts, and then the best ones there can be brought to light, because otherwise it just kind of defeats the purpose of this, and I will just skip over those. There is one that got quite a bit of upvotes. It was in the top 5, and it had a bunch of ideas. I'll rapid fire through them today, but just for the future, please try to keep it more consistent to a couple things, and then just make multiple forum posts. Yeah, so also, I'll be sharing a kind of idea of the day each time as well, and or an idea of the week, and just something to kind of get your guys' feedback on. So it's kind of a mutual relationship here. We can share something, get your guys' feedback on it, and you guys also get the opportunity to share a bunch of ideas with us and get my feedback on it. Additionally, if you do have an idea or something like that, and you drop it in like the tavern or the landowners and tag me with it, I get a lot of tags, a lot of DMs. I try to answer as many people as possible always, but it's tough, as you can imagine. I'm always 100 DMs to get back to. I try to get back to as many of you guys as possible, but this is the best way to get it directly to me and ensure that it will get noticed. Also, keep in mind that the community managers are always grabbing the things that you guys tag me on with ideas and stuff and always bringing those to me. Same with Guardians. So note that they're not being lost, and we do go over them, but I can only respond to so many tags a day and messages a day. So with that, we will go into our first one, which is, hold on, I got them all here. The first one is we need GMs back, botting swarm problem. So this was from 4 days ago. I'm going to read through the cards first And then after that, I will give my responses to them just so that you guys have them as well. But you can also read along. I'll kind of skim them a little bit. But the botting issue seems to be growing in RavenQuest. Imagine how it feels to be a new player after just a few days, or in Forsaken, and see a swarm of bots. Saying BattleEye and AnyBrain will eventually ban them isn't enough to keep those players engaged, especially now with major streamers showcasing the game to new audiences. It's more important than ever to address this problem. We truly need GMs and or CMs to actively tackle this head on with these anti-cheat tools. Yeah, so this is obviously a little bit dated now. Just yesterday or the day before, we put in our new automated reporting system. Basically what this system does is anything that does get through that filter, the reality is not much gets past BattleEye and AnyBrain combined. We've talked about it before. These are both very good anti-cheats in their own way. It's also great for like cross-referencing each other to make sure like, hey, were they only flagged on one? Why? Let's dig into this a little bit more. Maybe they weren't doing something, but when they're flagged on both, it's like, okay, both systems which act very differently, both detected cheating, and then it's like a pretty just easy ban. But with that, there is a level of there's a great video by someone on the World of Warcraft team that explained why do they not just ban bots at like level 5? Why do they usually let them play a little bit and then do these mass bans, right? Why do they do every 3 months a big ban wave instead of daily bans, right? And the reason why is because the more frequent you do bans, the more opportunities cheaters have to revise and change their approach to see how they can get across past the blockers, right? And that's why they like BattleEye and AnyBrain always suggest, hey, please do like ban waves. Do like once a month a big ban wave. We've told them many times that's not how we want to do things. We want to be much more active on it. But at the same time, these anti-cheats also need time to train, right? If there's a certain bot that starts getting used, if they're able to train on one person's information on how they're playing and how the bot is working, it allows the system to now permanently catch every single person who uses it instantly, which is very desirable. And so there are times where there's people that we're aware of and we track their character and we observe them and stuff to get that information to BattleEye or AnyBrain so that we can just instantly now catch everybody using that before hundreds of people are all using it, right? And so there are situations of that, but it's very much like based on subjective each situation itself. However, with that, there is also, we also want to obviously limit their ability, right? And so that's why we did make some changes with making the trading level higher and the marketplace level higher, which has been very beneficial. Our goal is if we can catch like 99% of cheaters before they get to any point that they could move silver or anything like that, it's kind of a positive reinforcement cycle in the sense that keep in mind that most cheaters, especially like the big scope ones that are really problematic, they're like companies, right? And so if they're playing a game and they're like, hey, 99% of the time we're getting caught before we can get a return from our botting or our cheating, we'll go to a game where it's a 10% chance we get caught, right? And that's how they look at this. It's a business thing, right? And so the more you're catching them and the worse their profits are, the more likely they are to go to another game, right? Which is a self-reinforcing kind of positive thing. And so with that, we've seen that incredibly effective. We dealt with it very aggressively from a Chinese botting group earlier in launch. Everyone was aware of that. They were trying to make like thousands of accounts a second, all these kind of different things. And we were able to train off that and fully block them. And now they're gone. That doesn't change the fact that there will always be cheaters that come up, especially in a Web3 game, but also just in online game in general. And so with that, we always need to be on top of it. With that, we built out a new automated reporting system. So basically what happens is when you report a cheater in game, it gets streamlined to our team and it actually pings our team in our chat channels. And so a GM or a CM, whoever is able to deal with it, they all get tagged and one of them claim it and then they go in and deal with it. And this has led to over 200 people just since implementing that being manually verified cheating and removed as well. And we see this as a really cool way to have kind of that first level defense of BattleEye, that second level defense with AnyBrain, and that third level defense with our team. And obviously we've had our team actively handling this as well, but the reporting system wasn't streamlined enough. And so it was like the reports would come in, we'd have to go into where all our reports are, go through them, Some of them would now be outdated, etc. And that person's not online anymore. Or they're not cheating online anymore. For example, like you report someone, we get to the ticket 2 hours later because we have other tickets to go through, other reports, and then that player's not online anymore. And the next day you see them online cheating again and you're like, oh, what's going on? And it's like, well, we weren't able to get involved in that situation to like verify that they were cheating. Because to be clear, there's a lot of false reports as well that we have to filter through. And so with that, then you see them the next day online and they're cheating again. And you're like, what's going on? Why is this guy not cheating? And it's like, well, we weren't able to intervene fast enough. This allows us to intervene within like 30 seconds, get on top of it right away. We usually do appear ghosted as staff, just so you know, and we do our own checks. And so just even if you report somebody, you're not going to like see a GM beside you suddenly. At times you might, but most of the time we will be invisible. You won't be able to see our character and the checks that we're doing. So a big reason is because a lot of anti-cheats can recognize like certain names, stuff like that, and like notify the person behind it, etc. So we have a bunch of different tools. We won't share too much on those tools because that's just ammo for the other side, but we have a bunch of different tools and ways that we check. And then we also use AnyBrain at the same time because that is live reporting. So with that, again, it's a little bit outdated now because we have built out a new system. We worked very fast when this forum topic got made to build out a stronger new system because it is very important to us. We've talked about it a lot. It is one of the most important things for us on how we run things. We want it to be very fair, and cheaters can go to other games where they can extract. And so that's been a huge focus for us, and we're continuing to find our tools stronger and stronger. And AnyBrain and BattleEye, we're in communication with them daily, and they're always fine-tuning stuff with us. And so it continues to get stronger and better, and ultimately with the goal of making the game as fair and bad actor free as possible. And it will never be a thing where there'll be no cheaters at all. People can use different forms of automation and stuff that are not tracked, and then we have to be on top of it. It's a consistent thing. There will always be these flows. Our goal is to make sure that 99% of cheaters never get to the point that they're able to offload anything and ultimately are getting caught before that point and have no negative impact. So keep in mind, even if you see like 6 characters running around together at level 12, don't panic. Very high likelihood that before then, before they hit the level to actually trade or marketplace or anything, that they will be caught and removed. But at the same time, definitely report them so we can get on top of it right away, because it still doesn't like look good for the game. Even if those players have no negative impact, we don't want a new player to come in and be like, what's this group of 6 players running around killing things together, clearly cheating, right? We want to remove that right away because we talk about it a lot, but perception versus reality. Even if we know the reality of like, okay, only 1% of people are actually even getting through to the point that they can have a negative impact, the perception is, oh, there's bots everywhere, right? And so we want to make sure that we're dealing with that as soon as possible. And that's why we built out the new system. So I really appreciate this card and just the community's engagement on it and making sure to bring that to the top of our attention. And because one thing on that, like we have a million things that we want to do. We want to make new content. We want to make new systems. We want to make quality of life improvements, balance patches. There's no shortage ever of things for us to do. Having the community remind us on what they want to see prioritized is so beneficial, because again, we have a long list of things that we want to do, and it's not about not doing them. It's more about like, what do we do now? What's the top priority right now? And every single day I meet with like our leads and our project managers, and it's always about like, okay, what are the priorities? Here's the list. Now, what are the quickest ones we can do from that priority list that will, like, if 2 things are both, we see like as big impact to the game and to the community, and one is, 1 day of development work and one is 2 weeks, we'll prioritize the 1 day one if we feel like they both bring as much value. And we have daily meetings on, okay, what's prioritized next? What do we move on priority? Stuff like that. So it's never that we don't want to do these things. It's just limitations of human capability. With that, this wasn't a topic, but I will chat on it because I know a lot of people are wondering. On the mobile client side, a lot of you guys played the mobile client already before launch, and you guys saw, for majority of you, you were like, hey, this is already in a great spot. We're super excited about this. Drop the mobile client. We ended up holding it off for the exact reason of dealing with cheaters. We had a lot of advice from community, but also from our advisors, that mobile opens up the floodgates for cheaters. It's much easier to cheat on mobile, and ultimately that a lot of cheaters use mobile. And so with that, we've held off on dropping the mobile client for this exact reason. We want to make sure that our systems in place are very, very strong and ready to deal with whatever comes with that, and not have to do this like catch up now, right? Where it's like, okay, we're still, you know, having issues with cheaters and stuff. Now let's drop the mobile, and now the problem gets 100 times worse. We're like, let's make sure that we have really good systems in place, tried and tested systems, evolved fully to where we think they need to be to have a very safe and fair environment before we bring in this added risk of cheaters, because mobile can bring in like 10 times the amount of weight on that side. So we want to make sure all our systems in place are really strong and ready to go and tried and tested. And we make sure that, yeah, we have every level ready for that. We know you guys all want the mobile client, and many of you guys already played it. And so you're like, dude, just drop it. We've already played it and it was awesome. But at the same time, we want to make sure that we don't bring in further risk to the ecosystem, to all of your guys's, success and fair play before that's 100% ready. So just wanted to share on that. We're also kind of looking at a few additional kind of anti-cheat things for the mobile client to make certain things harder. But we, as much as we want to drop the mobile client, because it's great for us, everyone knows mobile client market is massive, especially in Web3. And we know it'll bring a huge boom of new players that now can play on mobile and on their PC, because it is a full cross-play mobile client. But at the same time, we don't want to bring in all those risks and damaging parts just to get that in your guys' hands sooner. But you guys trust our approach to that, and you understand why we're doing it that way. Because again, we want new players, we want new adventures. Like, that's always good for us as well. But we also want to make sure that it doesn't hurt the ecosystem that you guys are all a part of, and the fair play, just to do that sooner. Going on to the next card. So this one I already responded in depth to. I will just kind of read my response here, because I already responded pretty deep to it. It was posted on the 12th, but I responded to it, I think, the same day. Yeah, I responded to it the same day, but I'm going to read through it anyways. I'm just going to read through my response so you guys all get it. Dear Niter, I say this with all due respect and as a concerned member of the RavenQuest family. If the token continues to crash like this, players will gradually lose interest. This will not only harm us, but the long-term success of the project. We always believed RavenQuest is more than just a game. It's a family. We, the players, want to enjoy the gameplay, yes, but we also hope to earn something for our time and efforts, just as you do. You are way ahead of us in terms of earnings, position, and responsibility. You are the owner, but still, we are all part of the same family. So I sincerely ask you, can you share with us the next steps to address? The token price is falling. Silver has lost its value in game. Many of us invested months into leveling up, hoping for meaningful rewards, but we are lost and confused. Where do we go from here? I'm not angry. I'm just concerned. We are committed, but we need some clarity. Please talk to us, your players, your community, family. So again, I really want to share kind of our thoughts on this. I did a long message, but I'm going to read through it now and probably add a few additional things. I appreciate how friendly this message was and just how fair it was. And obviously there was some snarky responses back to him. But at the same time, I think it's a very fair message and something that, yeah, I think is worth addressing as well. The biggest thing with these Niter's Forge, or whatever we want to call it, I had to come up with a name, so bear with me. But I want to address hard questions, easy questions, ideas, anything. That's really the intention of this. I'm not going to be hiding away from certain ones unless they're just really dumb, but I'll probably still mention them and say why it's dumb or whatever. But I think things like this are things that I should absolutely comment on as well. So I'll read through my comment first. Really appreciate your message. Seriously, it means a lot. I know you're here for the long haul, and it's clear you care about where we're headed, and that's why I want to type up a long response directly on this. We're working incredibly hard to do things differently in the space. And honestly, we see this moment where it just feels like every hour another Web3 game is shutting down and jumping to the next trend to ride as a huge opportunity. When others, and to be clear, these are talks that we have a lot internally as a team as well on where we want our direction to be and why. And so sending this message was pretty easy because this is a conversation that we have a lot internally as a team as well. That said, we're not blind to, when others step away, the mindshare becomes stronger to those that stand tall. And just to expand a little bit more on this, what I mean by that is if there's 100 games and 100 players, each game, let's say, gets one player, right? Just to use simple numbers. If there's one game and 100 players, that one game gets 100 players, right? And so these are actually, for anyone who's been in any space long enough, they know that with less competition, there's more opportunity, and those come in swings. That's why generally markets go the hardest and companies prosper the most right after a really hard time. Because when there's less competition, there's more attention. And yes, when there's less competition, some of the audience also leaves, but it's almost always going to be weighed heavier on the competition getting bled out first. And so we see this as a tremendous opportunity because we are a very stable studio. We're well diversified. We have a Web 2 side of the studio as well. And we're able to ride these kind of things. We prepare for these. We know these come. And it's something that a lot of teams don't do. But as a studio that's been around for a decade now, we know that there's good times and bad times, and how to prepare for the bad times and get ready to strengthen our positioning for the strong times. That said, we're not blind to how tough the market is right now. There's a reason so many Web3 studios are folding. It's brutal out there. And the same way bad teams can see their tokens pump in even a hot market, even though they've done everything wrong. In a bad market, even doing everything right isn't always enough to fight downward pressure. The key is we're building for the long term. We're setting things up so when the sentiment shifts, as it always does, usually right after it seems the darkest, Quest is positioned to be the strongest beneficiary of that. Our focus is to build strong with a clear path forward and be ready for that moment. You've probably seen our latest announcement. It lays out pretty clear the path forward from our CEX focus, our upcoming ecosystem games, to launching RavenQuest on Epic Games, mobile release, and more. We've self-published, stayed very disciplined and lean with our funds, and built out one of the most complete visions in the space. Being only on a DEX right now, and ZKVM DEX to boot. I love you guys, IMX. I love you, okay? But volume on IMX ZKVM is not quite there yet, okay? I know you guys are working on it. You guys are cooking up some good stuff. You've shared what the plan is, and it is a good plan. But obviously it doesn't get much attention, but everyone here knows the path forward is one of the strongest out there. And this comes from every level of us to our outside consultants, our advisors, our team inside. We meet with a lot of other Web3 teams, and a lot seem very lost and kind of floundering right now and not really knowing where to go. We have a very clear vision and a very clear path forward. It just takes time to execute. And thankfully, we're able to take that time to execute. And that's important to make sure to do things the right way. And we're in a very special position that we're able to, because a lot of teams don't have that luxury. But because of that, that is why internally we're so confident in what we're doing, is we know what that path forward is. We know what our vision is, and we're very confident behind that vision. We've held stronger than 99% of Web3 games. I mean, again, look at virtually any Web3 token out there, how it's behaved compared to how Quest has behaved, not because the market is good, but because our fundamentals are. The truth is, most game tokens are down 60, 70, even 90% from their TG. We've had teams reach out directly asking how we're still doing so well despite the current market conditions. This is something that has happened countless times now, that other teams have been reaching out to us, wanting to meet with us, chat, and hear kind of how we've been approaching things and how we're able to stomach the current market right now. It is rough out there. There's no doubt about that. It's probably the worst market we've seen in a long time. And not just in Web3, not just in Web3 gaming, in traditional markets, in traditional, in traditional tech, and in Web 2 games as well. A lot of Web 2 studios have been shutting down. Again, it's a necessary pruning that we all knew was coming. Everybody in the game industry that's been in it long enough was like, what's happening right now in 2021 and 2022 is not sustainable. There will be a purge. The smart studios prep for that. We haven't sold a single one of our tokens for a reason. And I mentioned this specifically for a couple things, but the biggest thing is you're mentioning you're way ahead of us in terms of earning, position, and responsibility. In terms of earning, we haven't sold a single token. And there's a very clear reason for that. We haven't sold it over the counter to anybody. Every single token that has come in, we have not turned into revenue or anything like that. And there's, very specific reasons for that. We believe a lot in the long term of what we're doing. We want you guys to eat before us, even though that's pretty much always the opposite. we really want to lead by example on that. And that is why we've taken that approach. But we also know what's coming down the road for us. And that's a big reason why we want to hold our tokens. Unfortunately, we legally can't buy our tokens, even though we would love to, because we know the things that we're cooking up and the things that are coming and really our bigger vision. And so the best thing we can do is just hold on to our tokens. And this coming from like the development and marketing amount, obviously that gets unlocked. We haven't sold any of that, but also like treasury tokens, haven't sold any of that. There's a reason for that. We know what we have coming and we know the future ahead. We're not going to sell in one of the lowest market sentiments, and we have a strong and clear path forward. The purge of bad actors and teams always precedes the next wave. That's how it's always gone. When the tide turns, the ones still standing are the ones who build something real, and they get 100% of the spoils. That's what we're doing for everyone in the RavenQuest ecosystem or Quest ecosystem. Thanks again for your message. It's noticed and appreciated more than you know. He sent another response here. I'm not going to continue going through all of this, but ultimately, really great point. I also appreciate how many people actually read it afterwards as well, my response, and chimed in as well. I think, by the way, like the people that were giving kind of snarky responses, I think they're also super fair. Like some people saying like, oh, like the token falls a little bit and everyone's being so dramatic and like, look at the rest of the space and stuff. I think it's all very like fair responses as well. So when I mentioned how they're a little bit snarky, it was just because I was skimming past them to my response. Just to be clear, like I think it's also a fair response, but I think overall the discussion was quite balanced and fair in there. Okay. Moving on to the next one. Yeah, so the next one was someone who put like 20 things. I'm going to go lightly through a few of them. Again, in the future, try to make its own piece. How long have we been? We've been recording for 27 minutes. Shit. Okay, so much for them being 10 to 15 minutes. I will try and keep next one shorter, okay? So yeah, it was just a bunch of ideas. I won't go through all of them. I'll try and pick out a few here. Party bonus experience. I'm excited to share. I don't think I shared this yet. We actually are going to be increasing the party bonus experience. And we also have a few things cooking up with like party-based hunting spawns and stuff like that. But those take more time to develop. And we have a lot of things already coming in 1.1. And so we just can't keep squeezing more things in or the development team will kill me. But ultimately, we are increasing the party bonus experience. Sorry, bear with me. This is so unprofessional of me, but I need 1 second here just because I'm supposed to have a call here in 5 minutes and I know I'll be a little bit longer. Okay, done. Just want to let them know that it'll be 5-10 minutes late here. There was some other stuff as well. A lot of it is around kind of the Quest ecosystem. A lot of these ideas are all things we are doing. The Quest 2.0 ecosystem coming in 1.1 is very different. You guys will see a very different ecosystem, significantly stronger rewards. I think that's the biggest thing, but also just a much better system that rewards you for progressing in the game, ties your quest rewards more to your character's progression. So less around just, oh, I don't really need to progress any farther because I'm getting kind of the same I would if I progress, but very big focus on late game content that you guys can strive to be the top of, and significantly larger quest rewards for being on the top of that. We'll be sharing a video that breaks down all the changes. It is a very different ecosystem, but one that we're basically taking all of the learning we've had for the last, over 3 months now since release on what do we think worked, what didn't work, what is sustainable, how can we get bigger rewards into top players' hands, players that really are committing to their character and fleshing out their character. How can we like really make that heavier? So it's a very different model, significantly higher rewards for those top players, and just a model that we think is much stronger. So we'll be sharing more about that, but a lot of the comments were around that. So yeah, gonna hop over to the fourth one. I'm going through 5 today. I probably shouldn't have done that because I said I would do 1 through 3. That's probably why it's so long. But we're going to do 5 today. It's the first one. Let's celebrate, right? Because I love doing this. So pity mechanic for rare event outfit cosmetic materials. So the thing is, with the current drop rate of rare cosmetic materials, it's almost impossible to farm an outfit. How about you consider a pity mechanic for us RPG farmers? So I think this is super fair. This is a good example of how I can share a bit behind the scenes. obviously adding a pity mechanic is not very hard for us to do, and many would love it. The reality is a lot of people would be very upset about it as well. Players who already got the outfit would be like, well, this feels shitty. I worked so hard to get it, and now you made it easier for others to get. And so I think that's a example of a lot of things in the game, right? Players say, oh, why not like make this easier because it could be like, maybe it's too hard, right? And we have to be really careful with that. There are situations where, yes, we could make it easier and majority of people would love that. But there's also situations where it feels like it kind of undercuts people who got it when it was really hard, right? And so making things easier is always an easy route, I guess you could say. But more looking at, okay, how do we have this change future things that we drop, right? So that from day one, it's fair across the board. But this is an example where, yes, I do agree. And I think that's an interesting idea. And hindsight, you know, go back 6 months, I think this would be a great mechanic, but ultimately it feels a little bit unfair to people who did work so hard to get those cosmetics and feel special with those cosmetics. And that's why we wouldn't do something like this. Again, there are situations where it is worth doing, but in certain situations, it just kind of feels like it's kicking those people in the nuts for doing the hard thing the first time. But I do agree with the sentiment. And then the last one is level in Warforge star upgrade mastery. Warforge, it's currently only possible to give Warforge once. After the guild battle reward become useless. My idea is like augmenting Warforge has levels that you can use to get to level 2 Warforge, 3, 4, 5, 10, etc. This giving them utility for a long period and making strong and unique items. For example, increasing 10% with each Warforge in all stats. I love this idea. This is actually something that we've already prepared internally. We want to do something a little deeper where you're actually able to get kind of like an ability tree from Warforging to higher tiers. Keep in mind that a lot of players haven't maxed out their Warforging. This is going to be kind of like the top teams that have won a lot in Guild Wars. A lot of players are not at that point. And so, but at the same time, I do agree that there's many interesting things that we can add to Warforging. We also will be planning to make certain consumables you're able to obtain with Warforging shards. So definitely keep collecting them. And then you're already set up for when we do add some tier approach to it. And I'm not sure for sure if we will do that kind of skill tree idea because it is a lot more to build out and we wouldn't be able to build it out very quickly. However, the tier idea I think is also very interesting. And even if we just add tiers and then at tier 5, maybe you can build out that skill tree side. But yeah, that's definitely something that we've already talked about. We already have a couple different plans on how we want to move forward for that. It's just finding the development time to make those things happen. Equipment upgrade system with equipments of the same grade. In short, player burns a sword of the same tier to try to put stars on the selected sword. In this way, creating a burn for items, generating the entire economy around items that are burned. Yeah, so I think also a really interesting idea. We already have some other progression stuff for equipment coming in 1.1. So I don't know if we would implement something like this. And we also have other ideas for equipment burning that we've been playing around with. And ultimately, I think it's a great idea. It's a great way of looking at progression that we can add and also burning for things in the game. This is an example of like recommended ideas here that I think are brought in a very like smart way. So what I mean by that is good ideas solves a problem. And also at the same time, it's very lean on development. In terms of it's not some crazy grandiose idea that's like, oh, this is a great idea. It's also going to take us 2 months to build out. It's an idea where it's like, these things are not incredibly time consuming to build out, but also solve problems and also add, new progression. So I really, Lemcrypt, really appreciate these ideas. They're very solid. I can say we already have things kind of along this that are coming. And so probably won't be doing these exact ideas, but I appreciate a line of thought and also the input on that. And so that's the last one there, guys. I was able to rapid fire through that. So we're sub 35 minutes. What I just want to mention is, I'm going to be doing these weekly on Thursdays or Fridays. It's going to vary based on how many calls I have that day and when I get a chance to. Our CMs will generally grab them on like Wednesday or something, like the top upvoted ones. And then we will probably yeah, I guess we'll just grab the top upvoted ones since then, and then we'll probably start deleting some of them like a week after or something, just so it cleans it up. And then on top of that, each time I'm going to share something a little bit with you guys to get your feedback on. So today's thing that we're going to share, oh shoot, I had something else I wanted to share. I changed my mind last second. Oh, and now I'm put on the spot. Oh yeah. Someone had a cool idea from the community. That was the idea of like, so we have the new arena system coming out, which is non-equalized. And so the strength of your character will matter in that. We will be putting some really cool rewards behind the arena system. It will be MMR based. So even if you have weak gear or you're not a great PvPer, you can still participate in it. And your MMR will just decipher where you sit. And with that, on the arena system that will be coming in 1.1, one idea that we had shared with us that we thought was really interesting was the idea of like a second type of arena. Let's call it the Gladiator Arena. And it's like a tournament once a week or once a month where players can compete for like really big rewards, but all of the equipment they go in with is actually burned in the process. And I thought that was a really cool idea because it's a very cool way to burn materials, silver, infusions, all of that out of the game, because those pieces of equipment would be burned through the process and get some like really big rewards, bring in a really cool like risk reward mechanism in the game. To be clear, the idea is that you would not go in with your primary gear. I mean, unless you really want to, but the idea is that players would look to buy up other gear that's at like a good price point, upgrade it a little bit, you know, to give them the biggest competitive advantage in that Gladiator Arena, ultimately to fight for some really big rewards. So it brings kind of that risk reward element. Like, do you want to go in with really good gear to get, you know, try and get first place or top 10 or whatever, or do you want to just go into some cheap gear? And so I thought that was a pretty cool idea. And I would love to hear from you guys, the community, on what you guys think of that idea. So you can feel free to give some feedback on that or your thoughts on that in general in the tavern. If you made it through the whole 37 minutes of this video. I know doing it at the end is probably not the best idea if I want the most amount of feedback, but ultimately, guys, we're going to end the first Nighters Forge on that today. Let me know if there's like anything that you guys would like me to do a little bit different in this. If you're asking me to not talk as long on things, that will not happen. Okay. Listen, I get into it. I get passionate about it. I get excited and I ramble. That's just the way it is. This is for the diehards in our community, and that's what I wanted to do it for. But ultimately, if there's anything you guys like to see changed, I will do these just like unedited and very simple, and just upload them into like minor announcements, because that will make it the easiest that I can just do these each week and get it out without worrying about like having to get our editor involved and all this kind of stuff, and making it a much slower process. Just something nice, rapid fire for our diehard players and diehard community. But I'm very excited to do this, and the first one was fun. So yeah, make sure that you guys for next week put your ideas in the general feedback, like forum type area of the Discord. If it gets enough upvotes, we'll be going over a few of them. Future ones will be shorter, but otherwise, I hope you guys have a good weekend. Hope you guys have fun adventuring, and next video next week. See ya.